Imagine yourself walking through a nearby retail establishment. You take notice of the numerous items that are displayed for sale on the various racks and shelves. As you walk through this establishment, you also notice the people that visit this establishment. From the young and stylish to the older and more retro visitors, you'll notice that several people, mostly the younger generation, have either earbuds or full stereo headphones. Of course, this is not the first or only time you've seen this. Nearly any place that a person ventures into this world, they'll likely find several others with either a pair of earbuds hanging from their ears or a pair of stereo headphones resting on top of their head, usually connected to a cell phone of some kind. Let's explore this craze a little. Welcome to the evolution of the MP3 player. We rewind back to 1987 and meet with two German engineers, Dieter Seitzer and Karl-Heinz Brandenburg. Seitzer was a data transfer specialist and Brandenburg was a mathematics and electronics specialist researching audio transfer and compression. Both were German engineers working out of the Fraunhofer Institute. Both had been working on two different aspects of the same project: compress audio files into data files and transfer them from one disk to another without the loss of quality, preferably over a standard phone line. Now, in terms of audio engineering, the most advanced forms commercially available were the telephone and radio. Radio was broadcast that was a one-way communication. Telephone was two-way, but data was irretrievable. The two professors began research and development on compression and transfer. The code name for this project, Eureka. In 1997, the world's first MP3 player would come out of Germany, but it wasn't what we know of today. These players, while compact, were still bulky, lasted no longer than that of the average portable compact disc player, and had no better storage space than your average floppy disk. Not to mention they were costly, averaging around $500 for 320 megabytes of storage. That's megabytes, not gigabytes. While these devices would evolve, the next milestone would come from Apple Incorporated prototype iPod in 2001. This device bolstered a whopping 5 gigabytes of storage, could fit in any pocket, and lasted around 10 to 12 hours. A feature of this iPod, users could sync up custom playlists and differentiate between albums, artists, and playlists. After a few tweaks from internal bugs, Apple Incorporated finally released the iPod commercially in late 2001. By this time, the MP3 players had evolved. They were still pale in comparison. A 1 to 2 gigabyte MP3 player still cost several $100s. Over the next several years, Apple Incorporated would release several variations of their iPod. The development and evolution of cellular technology. By 2005, the cellular industry had gained some ground by adding a new MP3 player to many phones. While not a milestone, this had been making users' lives a little more convenient. In 2006, Microsoft had entered the digital revolution by releasing their version of the MP3 player known as the Microsoft Zune. At this point, consumers now had 3 different digital platforms to choose from: a universal MP3 player, an Apple iPod, or a Microsoft Zune. Now, the Zune wasn't exactly groundbreaking, but it did have one feature the Apple had failed to provide for several years: an FM tuner. With this feature, users could tag songs they heard over the tuner and add them to a cart in the Zune marketplace. This wasn't much, but it was enough for the consumer to let their voice be heard. In the 4th generation of Apple's iPod, the company finally added an FM tuner. In 2007, Apple would release the next milestone in digital devices with the iPhone and the iPod Touch. The iPod Touch wasn't the first touchscreen device, but it was the first touchscreen device to carry the MP3 player. The iPhone carried it all, from music and apps to movies and cellular technology. there was almost nothing the iPhone couldn't do. The iPod Touch nearly had it all: music, videos, apps, Wi-Fi connection, and a Bluetooth. However, it still didn't carry an FM tuner, and it didn't support MP4 format. In 2009, less than a year after the widespread Zune outage, Microsoft released its version of a touchscreen known as the Zune HD. This carried everything that previous versions had carried, with two main additional features. It supported apps through the marketplace and an MP4 support platform. In January 2010, Microsoft announced it was discontinuing the Zune platform. The manufacturing line would complete its mandatory next generation with continuing Zune support, but by December of 2012, nearly all Zune platforms had been discontinued, from hardware and software to replacements and support. Even customer support had discontinued. By this time, the consumer shifted to the smartphone market, and this would be the market that we know today. A mobile device could do anything and did just about everything, including an MP3 and an MP4 support platform. Where will these technologies take us in the future? There are really endless possibilities. I hear the holographic technology is on the rise. Thank you.